So that just happened. I appreciate kind of that Brandon Beane waited until April 2nd to do that instead of April Fool's Day, although I think I was not the only one staring at the timestamp on that tweet, just like willing it to say April 1st. Like, this can't be real. This is a gag, right? It's not a gag. We have apparently traded Stefon Diggs to the Houston Texans for a second-round pick next year. We are also giving them, along with Diggs this year, I think a 5th and 6th round pick this year, or 6th and 7th, something, some later round picks to go along with Steph. Basically what this means is that we are now going to be paying Stefon Diggs $31 million this year not to play for us. If he was playing for us, we would be paying him $27 million this year. That doesn't speak well to Steph. Like, that's not a thing that happens when people at an organization like you. Nobody likes you anymore, Steph. Maybe some people do. The people who matter do not. I think you lost McDermott a long time ago. I don't think you ever had Joe Brady. And I think it was just a question of, like, what did you have to do for Josh to say, okay, get rid of him?
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Thankful for you. Thankful for you. You'll never know how much.
The tweet yesterday where RG3 very kindly posed the question, is Steph Diggs essential to Josh Allen's success? And somebody said no, and Steph responded, you sure? I think you might have done that at kind of the wrong moment, and maybe not. I mean, things like this, I feel like maybe they've been in the works for a while, but like, I thought people were overreacting about it this morning. Like, you insult the guy, of course he's gonna stand up for himself. What do you expect him to do? Like, some of the expectations I feel like people have had for Steph's behavior have been overblown. You know, I've been able to sort of write it off and be like, he's not that big a diva, it's fine. And you know, the chemistry between him and Josh was so strong for so long. It was one of the things that got me back watching the Bills after a long time of being a much more passive fan, if even that. I mean, there's a reason that this is called Fairweather Fan. It wasn't until Josh and Steph became a thing that I cared again. You know, when it comes down to it, I don't think it's gonna be a huge loss in a lot of ways. Like, I'm okay with it. I get it. You look at his production last year and he was not good the whole back half of the year. As soon as we changed defensive coordinators and they started spacing out who was getting the ball, his numbers were terrible. I'm sure there are people who play fantasy football who can speak to this more than I can, but he was not doing well. People were like, is he injured? Like, what's going on? You look at that last game and I feel like a lot of the arguments about Steph come down to that last game against the Chiefs. First play, he fumbled. That wasn't a great start. Fourth quarter, he misses that huge throw.
Long for Diggs. Oh, and it went through his hands.
And when he's walking back to Josh, he does, you know, this. Whose fault was that, Steph? This close, were you? I was watching it. It was coming right at me. He was this close. But his stride was off when he went to catch that ball. I watched it. We saw it go right through his hands, not far from where we were sitting. And then people were going on the whole thing about, oh, he should have passed it to Steph on that play where KHALIL was the first read. He was wide open in the end zone, and then Dion got pushed into Josh by Chris Jones. And people are like, why didn't he throw it to Steph? And I'm like, because Steph was like the third read on that play and KHALIL was open. And it, you know, it failed as a play, but he was right to think he could make that throw. It just kind of all fell apart. But was Steph reading all that the last couple months and being like, yeah, why didn't he throw to me? Well, because it wasn't your turn, Steph. And you were not playing in that game in a way that made me think that if he did do that check down to you, that you were somehow going to shrug off the two defenders that were between you and the line of gain. So I don't know how much he drinks his own Kool-Aid. At this point, I think he was the only one drinking his own Kool-Aid, and that's why he's gone. I have friends in Texas who are kind of excited about this. Good luck to you. I don't think he's got a lot of years left in him at high production. I'm just like, that's a lot of money to not have a number one wide receiver. Go KHALIL? I don't know, maybe. Probably not. So, you got to figure this is all about draft stuff, because, I mean, after June 1st, we'll have like $10 million from when we cut Trey. I don't know if that's enough to get us someone like Higgins, Brandon Ayuk. I kind of doubt it. I know they're both looking to get traded, but like at what? I don't think so. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I highly doubt it. We need a wide receiver. We need a guy who can start for us right away in the draft. And so clearly what we're working on here is Beans cooking up something to trade up in the draft. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about who some trade partners might be, Vikings, Bears, like where that can get us to, what we have to, we have this second round next year. We're going to do that second round, this year's first round, this year's second round, next year's first round. Like, what are we throwing together in a package, and how far up can we get? I doubt we can get Harrison. Can we get Odunze? I think we can get BTJ at this point. Was it enough? Was it worth it? We'll find out. I also saw someone a little while ago who said, well, now we can get OBJ. And I was like, you really think what this locker room needs is to get rid of Diggs just to bring in Odell Beckham Jr.? Yes, what this locker room really needs is more Kim Kardashian. So that's really all I have to say. There's been some other stuff going on, but nothing really worth talking about that deeply with the Bills. I don't know. So I was sort of just sitting here like, all right, free agency stuff's pretty chill. Guess it's just, let's do some mock drafts. And then this shit, okay. It's just kind of a bummer that, for this to happen, he had to lose Josh.
Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen.
Because this is the sort of thing that there's no way they were going to do without Josh Allen being like, okay, yeah, it's time. It's time to get rid of him. And that's just sad.
Frustration here, Diggs wants to win. He's a highly emotional player.
I wish Steph well. I don't love that we have to worry about potentially playing against him now. You couldn't have traded him to someone in the NFC. But yeah, I always liked watching him before games playing catch with little kids. And I liked seeing him get the crowd riled up. He was a good person for us as fans to feel connected to on this team. If he wasn't going to be that guy anymore, it was time for him to go. I think it's time for us to pull out.
Finish this phrase. Leave it what?
In.
Name something specific. Name some specific people. I'll finish my...